أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله الصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه وبعد. Continue with the حلية طالب العلم, the adornment of the seeker of knowledge or the etiquettes of seeking of knowledge, and we are with the last chapter which is the precautions or the warnings from the acts or the characteristics that would void this hilya. This hilya is like now you have your adornment, you have like your tools. If they are not used properly, that would be something not good, and it would be a violation. And there are certain things, if you have, then these tools will not be effective. And we stopped at number 59 specifically. Your status or your reaction to the mistakes of the people who came before you. Like you're reading a book or you're making a research and you find somebody like made a mistake or they got confused or something like that. Some people will become very, very, very happy that I found, this big sheikh made a mistake and I'm the one who kind of found it. And nobody looked at it before, nobody paid attention, and I'm the one who found it. That is not among the etiquettes of seeker of knowledge. And if you have all these etiquettes and you have that characteristic, it voids it, because it invalidates the most important aspect, which is the niyyah, the intention. So the Sheikh is saying, if you found that, don't be happy that you found a mistake for him, but be happy that you are correcting something. So it's like this scholar did a great thing, and from me fixing that one is like he will become better, his heritage will become better. So you are happy that you are fixing something, you are not happy that you found the mistake. You see the difference? You are happy that you are fixing something in our building. So the building here has something, so you don't care about the credit. You care about that building being perfect. You care about this book or that research of that sheikh, scholar before you is perfect. So you are fixing that problem. You are happy because of Allah made you the one who fixed that. It's not you are happy that you found it. So this is very, very important. And nobody would, the Sheikh saying, the author saying, that nobody would be happy with such a thing except someone who is not knowledgeable, someone who wants to show the people that he is something. And he is saying that it is like a fake or a pseudo scholar, like somebody who's not. He went to fix a common cold, but he caused flesh-eating bacteria. He caused judham. He said ذهب ليطب زكاما فيحدث به جذاما. يعني he wanted to fix something light and he created something big instead, bigger problem. يعني. So it is very, very important. And sometimes also there is ways to fix. Like, he said some of the scholars, may Allah have mercy on them, said such and such and such, but the correct thing is such and such and such, based on, without even mentioning their names. So if somebody reading it, they kind of realize. So you're not happy that you are saying, Imam such and such, big Imam, I found a mistake. No. So have to fix the mistake, which is a wajib on us, right? But try to, if it is maslaha to mention the name, that's fine. If there is no benefit, maslaha means benefit. If there is no benefit in that, don't mention the name. Also, sometimes people pick on something that they think it's a mistake, but it's not a mistake. It's actually they are trying they go behind one specific imam and try to bring all the things that cause doubts or cause issues. So their intention here is to put that person down or to bring him down, not to fix. So we have to pay attention not to be like that. And the Sheikh Ibn Uthaymeen mentioned that some people do that with Sheikh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah, for example. Ibn Taymiyyah, because he did a lot. So people go and people of innovation, for example, will go and say, Ibn Taymiyyah does such and such. And he said this about the talaq issues. And he said this about the Aqidah. And he has that problem. Why? Because they are trying to prove something or trying to discredit him. Because he is followed massively by Ahl Sunnah, right? So people of Bid'ah, they try to discredit him because of that. There is an issue here about the people of Bid'ah. Sheikh Ibn Uthaymeen mentioned even someone have a mistake in their Aqidah and everything, but they have good knowledge in some branch of knowledge like Qira'at or linguistics or rhetoric, then you should take it from them, no problem, but avoid their bid'ah. Number 60, daf'u shubuhat. So he's saying don't make your heart, daf'u shubuhat means fending off all the doubts, keep it away. So he said don't make your heart like a sponge, that everything comes, it sucks everything, it absorbs everything. So don't bring doubts to yourself or to anybody else, because he said فَالشُّبَهُ خَطَّافَةٌ. He said that those doubts, they are like hooks that it might actually catch you, and hearts are weak. And the most people who do that, he called them حمالة الحطب. The people of innovation, he called them حمالة الحطب, like the wife of Abu Lahab, حمالة الحطب. So he said, be careful from them. So they throw these things in your way to distract you. حمالة الحطب, what did she used to do? She used to put the things in the path of Rasulullah to distract him, to delay him from where he's going, and to hurt him. So they will do this, throw these doubts on you like that. So pay attention to those who throw doubts, and pay attention to yourself also not to create doubt. What if this, what if that? Especially in the area of Aqidah, that will cause you problems. The best solution, by the way, I always tell the youth and everybody, like whenever you have doubt, the first answer comes to you, say this has to have an answer. My mind is the one which is confused, but I know that there is an answer for it. I know that Islam doesn't have that kind of doubt. So you already put a barrier between you and believing in the doubt. So it's a matter of time until somebody solves it for you. Don't make your heart like a sponge. This was the advice of Sheikh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah to his student Ibn al-Qayyim. He said, don't make it like a sponge, make it like a glass. You know the difference? Sponge, if you put it on dirty water, it will take it, absorb it. If you put it in clean water, it will absorb it. If you put it in anything, it will absorb it, any liquid. And it will absorb even dust. But if you have a glass, it will get the light and the heat of the sun through, but no dust, and there is no rain, and there is no dirt, and there is no bugs, nothing. So he said, make your heart like the glass, like that. Now, so when we read the seerah and the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we will find that to avoid all these kind of argument and a kind of detailed talks that does not get us anywhere. When Rasulullah told the Sahaba, Allah Azza wa Jal comes down on the last third of the night to ask who needs to be forgiven, and all of these things. The Sahaba took it and they acted upon it. How did they act upon it? Last third of the night they prayed. They were that simple, right? But later comes people said, oh, how does Allah come down? And if He comes down, is His arsh empty? Like these kind of doubts they started creating. But the Sahaba never talked like that. They are the ones who know Arabic better than all of us. Yet, this did not bother them. They did not bother them. They know what a kursi is. Kursi is the place of the feet. Kursi is the place of the feet. You know the ottoman, when you have the reclining chair, there is a piece that you put your feet on it. There are two pieces, one that you sit on and one you put your feet on. People think that the kursi is the one that Allah sits on. No, kursi is the one that place of the feet. Okay, that's the kursi. Al-arsh is where Allah sits. Al-arsh. There is arsh and there is kursi. So Allah Azza wa Jalla says, Allahu la ilaha illa huwa al-hayyul qayyum la ta'khudhuhu sinatun wa la nawm lahu ma fi as-samawati wa al-ardi wasi'a kursiyuhu as-samawati wal ard. Yani the kursi, not the arsh. Okay, arsh is something else. Now all of this we know how a king sits on his arsh and how a king puts his feet. But does this apply to Allah? No. You get the idea? Yeah, but the Sahaba did not get busy with that argument. This argument came later, when people started using their brain to describe or try to understand things beyond the human brain. Yani the best thing to start the Aqidah, to study the Aqidah, is to take it as it is. قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ اللَّهُ الصَّمَدُ لَمْ يَلِدْ وَلَمْ يُولَدْ وَلَمْ يَكُنْ لَهُ كُفُوًا أَحَدٌ. Don't deviate. وَسِعَ كُرْسِيُّهُ, there is a kursi and there is a arsh. Don't even ask questions. How the kursi this, how the kursi that, how arsh this. Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam told us the example of heavens and earth and all the creation, all the universe, all the galaxies, everything compared to the kursi of Allah. It is like a ring thrown in the desert. And the kursi to the arsh is like that too. Okay? So that's what does that mean? Like whenever people bring this hadith to me and they say, I said, what does that mean? The meaning here is don't bother thinking. That's my interpretation. I said the meaning of this, don't bother thinking. Because it doesn't matter how you think, somebody will come at you and say, oh, there is wrong in this. And you say there is wrong in that. And this is where all this firq started. All these sects started because of this. Because they started arguing with each other, right? Someone comes with an argument and another person counter argue and he defends and they bring another third one, does not like both, and that's how it started. The deen of Allah Azza wa Jalla, when it came, the Sahaba accepted as it is. Based on their limited knowledge of science like us, subhanallah, Allah gave them that great intellect and understanding. What is the point? Like qadar. Qadar. If Allah knows everything in advance, so what is the point? That's our thing. For them said, if Allah knows everything in advance, He did not tell us, but He gave us Sharia, so let's abide by the Sharia. That's our rule. Don't bother about the qadar. You see how they are? We believe that Allah knows everything because He is Allah. He decided where we go, so we said, Ya Allah, make us among the ones that you decided to go to Jannah. Khalas, that's it. But to bother about this issue, it will take you away from the path. So that's why the Sahaba were the Sahaba of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When we start talking and using our brain to understand something beyond the human brain, we will waste our time. That's why you see me not explaining Aqidah books. I don't want to get into that. The Aqidah is very simple, as I just mentioned it to you. Allah is beyond your comprehension, beyond your understanding. So talking about these things is a waste of time. Leave it to the scholars who are defending the deen. Okay? But we as lay people, خلاص قولوا الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم ليس كمثله شيء وهو السميع البصير. He's nothing like it. Why I bother about trying to know the characteristic of some of Allah, the one He said about Himself, nothing is like Him. And He's not like anything or nobody. So anything I talk about His characteristic is going to be like, what is the point? Like Sheikh al-Islam himself, Ibn Taymiyyah, when he was dying in the prison, he started crying and saying, I am regretting all the time I spent in talking about these things. I wish I spent more time with the Book of Allah. just the Quran, recite the Quran, explain the Quran, practice the Quran, and that's it. All this time I wasted like talking to the people, innovation this, innovation that. He even found that reciting Quran for himself and trying to understand it is much better than the time even though it was invaluable service he did, right? But he himself felt that sticking with the book of Allah to recite it and understand it and stay limited is much better than arguing. Allahu Akbar. يعني الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم, Sheikh Ibn Taymiyyah mentioned another good example. He said he saw in the dream, Rasulullah صلى الله عليه وسلم, in the dream of the prophets is wahy from Allah, right? He said that Allah put his hand between my shoulder blades, so I felt the coldness in my breast or my chest from the front. There's a hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the hadith in Muslim, Imam Ahmad, like that. So did the Sahaba said, how was that? Never. They never. Did they ask him, did the hand of Allah has 5 fingers? They never asked that. They never asked about the details. Why? They are like people who don't understand. They know whom he's talking about, right? They know whom he's talking about. Who? He's talking about Allah Azza wa Jal. Khalas, they do not discuss. You see the adab of the Sahaba? That's how it is. He said, Allah put his hand between my shoulder blades. We know the shoulder blades. And the hand is a hand. So in a dream world is different. In a dream world is different. Sometimes you describe things, but it did not happen like it happens in the regular, time. Not in the real time. Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam told them that the death will come like a big huge ram, sheep, and will be slaughtered between Jannah and hellfire, and Allah will say, "O people of Jannah, eternity without death, O people of hellfire, eternity without death." They did not say how the death will become a ram or how it become a sheep. Khalas, Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam said it will become like that. Okay, everything which is a concept in this world will have a physical, tangible shape in the Day of Judgment. Your amal will become like a person, right? Your deeds will have a weight. So we understand that death will become like this. Your recitation of the Quran will make shafa'ah for you. Your fasting of the Ramadan will make shafa'ah for you. We know those things. But how they're going to look like? Allahu A'lam. Because this is a different world by different rules. So why it's not fair to use our standards here to judge something beyond that? So don't get to these issues because it will void this hilya for you. Number 61, احذر اللحن. Lahn here means improper speech. Lahn, like tajweed, lahn. Lahn means somebody violate a rule of tajweed. So there is lahn jali, like somebody said alhamdulillahi instead of alhamdulillahi, right? So this is lahn in the nahwu, Arabic, alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin instead of rabbil alamin. Okay, so he did not do mudaf ilayh. Like this is called what? Lahn. Lahn in Arabic. Lahn in tajweed, somebody does not do the ghunna, does not do the mad, right? Like we'll say مثلا أولئك على هدى من ربهم وأولئك هم المفلحون. He did not say أولئك. That's lahn, a little bit hidden because not everybody knows mad, ahkam of mad, and so on. So he says, make sure you do not make lahn in the speech or in the writing. Because when you don't make this lahn and mistake, it shows the high taste that you have, and it shows that you know what you're talking about and how you deliver the good, nice meanings to people. Sayyidina Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anhu said, learn the Arabic language because it increases your nobility. So when somebody speaks proper, any language, speaks properly, you respect them, right? When you find somebody speaking English like in a proper way, it's coming sweet. Or somebody speaking Arabic language of Quran is the best. So any language, a person speaks it properly with grammar and all of that, then you kind of respect them. And he says that some people used to instruct their children when they do not speak properly. They speak language properly, and it was something that the guided predecessors, they were eager for their children to have. Somebody, he said, يعني if إذا كتب لحان فكتب عن اللحان لحان آخر صار الحديث بالفارسية. يعني he said that if somebody who does not have he does not master the Arabic language, and he writes a hadith, and there another person who does not master the Arabic language, he narrates from him, the hadith will end in Persian at the end. Because people take something and they kind of write it the way, because they don't know grammar. So sometimes they read something and they understand it in a different way, or they hear something and they write it wrong, and somebody wrong write it from that wrong, so it becomes different then. الإمام المبرد صاحب الكامل يعني كتاب very important book in the Arabic language and literature, and how you fix the tongue and all that. He said النحو يبسط من لسان الألكان والمرء تكرمه إذا لم يلحن فإذا أردت من العلوم أجلها فأجلها منها منها مقيم الألسن. يعني he said that نحو syntax, يعني the Arabic syntax, grammar and all that, it makes the person with a twisted tongue speak straight. يبسط من لسان الألكن. الألكن is the person whose tongue, they said that the tongue is bent. That means he's not speaking properly. So the Nahu will make his tongue straight. And he said that you honor a person when you speak proper. If you want the most honorable among the branches of knowledge, start with the one, or take the one that fixes your tongue. And some people, they were against that. He said, don't worry about them. Also, the Arabic language, we mentioned that in the beginning, if you remember, but it has few branches of knowledge. You have the Nahu, syntax. You have the Sarf, which is morphology, like the mizan, or the balance scale of words. Fa'ala, fa and ayn and lam, and then that changes all over the place. يفعل, تفعل, يفعلون, فعل, فعول, فاعل, مفعول. From those three letters, the whole language is based on it, basically. So it tells you if it is fa'ala, it becomes يفعل. But if it is fa'ila, it becomes يفعل. If it is fa'ula, it becomes يفعل. It's like, it tells you, and it becomes like math. Right? Like math. Like, if it is like this, it goes like this. And if it's like that, it goes like this. Once you know the sarf, means your language is perfect. Right? The sarf means you know how to mold the words. You want to speak about a male or a female, 2 or 3 or 1, right? You want to speak in the past or the present. You want to speak about singular or plural. This is first, right? Then you want to talk about them in a subject or an object, okay? Predicate or subject, mubtada or khabar, يعني, and so on. And then this is sarfa. This is the act of sarf. Act of nahu now. Okay, if that word is subject, what do? Nahu is always آخر الكلمات. يعني sarf on the structure of the word, but nahu on what you put at the end of the word. If it is the beginning or the middle or the end. If it is male or female or this, it would take a certain حركة at the end. If lam comes before الفعل, then you put a sukun, right? If kana comes, then what you do? Okay. If inna comes, it's opposite to kana. If dhanna comes, it needs 2 objects, like that. That is النحو will tell you how to put فتحة كسرة ضمة and all of that. So those two are the basic. But then you have another علم في اللغة العربية يعني علوم اللغة يعني. All of this called the linguistics يعني language, the علوم of the language structure يعني. نحو صرف. You have اشتقاق means philology, means like how the word is derived from the other word. That's different from sarf, right? Sarf is showing you the scale. But اشتقاق is how to make something out of something else, right? How to make the فعل مضارع from the فعل ماضي. That's اشتقاق, right? You know, اشتق. So نحو صرف واشتقاق. And you have البلاغة. بلاغة means rhetoric. You have البلاغة have three علوم. البيان والمعاني والبديع. So that's 3 plus 3 is 6. Then you have الشعر. الشعر means poetry. Then you have العروض, which is the scale of the poem. وعلم القوافي means the ending of the poems. And you have علم الخط, the handwriting. And there is one I'm missing يعني. But there are 11. الأدب means the literature يعني we have the poetry and you have other literature like prose and all of that. So علوم اللغة 11 علم, 11 branches of knowledge just for the Arabic language. So when they talk about, for example, the conditions of a scholar of tafsir, they say that he has to have a mastery of علوم اللغة. That's one condition. All right, they have 21 conditions for a mufassir. So the first condition that he has to not have the knowledge, have the mastery of the 11 branches of knowledge. The first condition. So first condition he has to have that, those mastery of the 11 branches. Then you have 20 more conditions that he has to be aware of. يعني. Yeah, he has to know whatever written in the branch, the tafsir, he has to know the fiqh, he has to know the usul, he has to know the ahkam, he has to know maqasid sharia. There are a few other things. Yeah. That's why I was saying in the beginning, from the hilya, the more knowledge you seek, the more you feel how small you are, right? And when you reach to that level, means you are in the right path. But if you have some new information and you cannot hold it and you want everybody to know, that means you're still in the beginning. Someone was Bishr al-Hafi. He was one of the great عباد يعني الزهاد, great people who worship Allah Azza wa Jal. And he was not bothered of studying the branches of knowledge and all that. That's why narrated that Imam Ahmad and others said about him, if he learned the usul and the fiqh and the tafsir, he would have, nobody would reach to his level, right? But he didn't do that. So one time a person said, why you don't study nahu? To him, He said, why you don't study nahu? He said, I don't want to be deviated. He said, how you deviated? He said, because it's like that. He told him, it's just simple, you have to know ضرب عمرو زيدا. ضرب عمرو زيدا يعني this ضرب فعل, عمرو غير فاعل, زيد مفعول. So Bishr al-Hafi answered him, he said, why did he hit him? Why did he hit him? ولماذا ضربه? Why عمرو ضرب زيد? Hit him. He said, ما ضربه. He did not hit him, but this is an example. He said, a science that starts with lying, I don't want to. I don't want to learn. This is a lie, طبعا this is exaggeration, right? This is not the point, But, just tell you like how some people think sometimes. Number 62, الإجهاض الفكري. الإجهاض الفكري. Intellectual abortion. You know what abortion is, right? Abortion is forcing a fetus to come out before it's forming. That's the meaning of the word abortion, right? Forcing. So he said, don't force the idea to come before it is mature. And some people, they have an idea, they just go and throw it. And then they discover it was wrong, or has no basis, or it was not the time, or that's not the audience. So be careful of doing that. So before the idea matures, it is like a woman who aborted the pregnancy before its term. Right? For that intellectual abortion of ideas, one time I asked one of my sheikhs, I told him that sometimes I'm reading the Quran and an idea comes in my head, like a khatira, I want to talk to people about it. He said, don't do that, because this is one of the things that persuades a student of knowledge, and you end up making mistakes. If it is good 5-6 times, one time you're going to make a horrible mistake. So don't do that. I said, so what should I do? So whenever you get an idea, it makes sense, right, to you. He said, oh, this means this means that. He said, go consult the books of tafsir. So one of two things. It's either you will find that it is mentioned before, so you're going to read how it is mentioned and fix the idea that you have. So do you have more? Do you have the same? Do you have less? Okay. Or you will not find it. Then when you don't find it, you have to actually think on a different track now. Like, would this idea clash with any of the principles of the deen? Would this idea make fitna for the people? You start thinking about that until it matures in your head. Then this will help you. On the long run, your head will not get the wrong ideas on the long run, because you put yourself a system now. Whenever an idea trying to pop up, you have a scrutiny, you have a filter. So all the right ideas only will come. Then you will have that skill, that malaka, that only the right thing happens. But if you get to the habit of once an idea comes, you say it, then you get to the habit of not thinking well and making more mistakes. And that's actually what many big names now, famous, they are not scholars or anything, I'm not going to mention anybody, but they fall in that trap. Okay, and they have hundreds of thousands of followers, unfortunately, and they don't read. They sometimes actually say the opposite of what is meant by that. So because an idea popped in their head and they have a large audience, they go and say it next day in the morning, and that's not right. That's not right. Hmm. 63 الإسرائيليات الجديدة, the new Israelites. What are the new Israelites? We know what Israelites. الإسرائيليات, the tafsir, for example, is the narrations that came from Bani Israel, right? Narrations that came from Bani Israel. الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم said أحدثوا عن بني إسرائيل ولا حرج. Narrate from people of Bani Israel. But then he says on the other, as long as if it agrees with the Quran, we take it because it's the Quran. So we don't need anybody to give us. If something in the Quran saying that Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam if it says that Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam hit the sea with his cane and it opened up and Bani Israel crossed. If there is an Israelite narration saying that, we believe it. But do we believe it because it gives us something that we don't know? No, we believe it because it is saying the same thing that our Quran says and our Sunnah says. So no problem. Whether we have it or we don't have it doesn't matter. The other opposite is that it is opposite to what we have. We rejected that one. Okay? So we say something about Sayyidina Sulaiman alayhi salam, we say he's a prophet of Allah. Israelites say he was just a king. So we don't believe that. We reject it. Now we have one in the middle, that it is not supporting anything that we have and it is not rejecting anything. It is talking about the wife of Yaqub. What was her name? So it doesn't matter. I don't believe it, I don't disbelieve it. It does not add anything to me. Alright? Or Yaqub had two wives, one from this, one, it doesn't matter. What was the wife of the name of Imra'at al-Aziz? Zulaykha ولا مش Zulaykha? Don't care. يعني it's not like a big deal for us. Okay? So those are the things that you don't believe it, you don't disbelieve it. You just, okay, it might be right, it might be wrong, but whether it is right or wrong does not add anything. The people, the problem is that they hold to those things that does not add any value. And they start making big deal of it to make a story. And Sayyidina Ishaq, what is the story of Sayyidina Ishaq in our heritage? Nothing. Right? What is the story of Prophet Ishaq? Yani? Not much. Ishaq is the prophet of Allah, he is the son of Ibrahim alayhi salam from Sarah. That's it. And his name is mentioned as a prophet. Yani. So whom بقى Ishaq married, how Ishaq got Yaqub, لا. يعني we know about Yaqub more than we know about Ishaq. But you'll find the Israelites talking a lot about Ishaq. Does this affect? No. Okay. So اليسع وذو الكفل, there is no story. Period. There is no story. Okay. And so on and so forth. So the Israelites will give you details that, you know, doesn't matter. Yani. So now, what is the new Israelites that the Sheikh, the author here mentioned? He said, like the Israelites came into the deen and some people start holding to the deviant ones, you have the Orientalists or al-Mustashriqeen or the people who study Islam but they are not Muslims. They start putting these things inside of the deen. And people hold to it. People hold to it. That's why I'm saying, like, okay, somebody goes and study the Islamic studies in Harvard. What is the value of that? Compared to studying Islamic studies in Al-Azhar, yani, or an Islamic university in one of the Muslim countries. This is a name, this is quality, right? Who's going to teach the Islamic studies in Harvard? Most likely not a Muslim, right? So he has his perspective, and the students get affected by the Sheikh or the teacher's perspective. And if you go to Harvard or Yale or anything like that, the first thing that they do, first thing, and this is from personal experience, yani, and I, you know, saw it firsthand. The first thing that they will tell you, and they say it openly, yani, you have to be stripped down from all your beliefs to succeed, especially when you are in the graduate study level. Means you cannot think or approach any research with the glasses of religion or any ideology or any belief that you have, because you become biased. You see the study now? So if you are going to study about homosexuality or you're going to study about things like that, you cannot study it from the Islamic perspective. You cannot put your Islam glasses there when you are researching, because it's going to come out as haram at the end, which is true. You know, they are not saying something wrong. They're not lying. Yani. Like if I get assigned in my PhD to study the homosexual community within the Muslim community, what do I do? If this is going to be my study case in my PhD level in education in Harvard, what do I do? They tell you very simple: forget you're a Muslim. Don't put and say haram and halal, you know. Don't put any aqidah in there. They are human beings. You're going to study them like a case study, and you can come up with the end. They said, oh, they are mazloom. They are people who are not taking the right, you know. And then you have to give your recommendation, not as a Muslim either. You get it? You have to give your recommendation. How are you going to fix their problem then? You see the dilemma here? That's the dilemma. So now if I go study Islamic studies in a university that this is their approach, how I'm going to come out with a criticizing mind to every basic foundation in Islam? And that's what happened actually to many people. No need to mention their names, but that's what they said about themselves. They said, okay, after the Sahaba, everybody's open game, fair game. Everybody fair game. I can say what they did do wrong, what they did right, I agree or not, I agree. Sheikh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah, I have some respect for the man. He did a good job. That's the approach now, right? So that's why the scholars before, they said, don't sit with the people of innovation. Even if you are not going to learn anything from them, or don't just sit with them. They are like an infectious disease, right? Innovation, bid'ah, ahl al-bid'ah wal-ahwa. Yani people of desires, people of this, don't hang around with them. Because, just being close to them is like somebody sneezing, and one of those things will come at you and you get a catch cold. هو ممكن يعني it's a very rare possibility, but it's a possibility. يعني موجودة، يعني possibility موجودة, and you don't know if you are that person or not. Okay? واحد sneezed in the room has 100 people, maybe one of them will get sick. Maybe that's you. Okay, don't say that, 99% it's not going to happen. But who's the 1%? Maybe it's you. So, that's why they said don't sit around these people. So the same thing, like this is the new Israelites. That's what he means in a nutshell about new Israelites. This is the ideas that the people of the West, Orientalists, that they study Islam in depth. Some of them actually know about Quran and the Sunnah more than Muslims themselves. More than Muslims students. Even they specialize. They speak Arabic fluently, they know the hadith inside out, they know that. But they are not Muslims. So what is the idea? That they have a different agenda, right? So a person has to be very, 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 very careful. That's why this idea, for example, Sheikh Ibn Uthaymeen mentioned it. He said that how it is bad and evil, like the author mentioned, he said it seeped into the Muslim mind to the point that Muslims started believing in them. Some of them in the idea of mu'amalat, transactions. They said why the woman would take less than a man in the mirath. Women should have the half. Even, for example, now the European Council issued a fatwa that a woman taking 50% is legal. It's Islamic. 50% in the court. And they come and said, because women here, they share everything with the man, and they work and they do this and that, and her working at home equal to his working outside, so she take 50%. That's her 50%. Then she inherit in his 50%. You get the idea? Like, if the man dies, 50% is hers. Nobody can touch that one. Now we talk about the other 50% of his. هذا حقها يعني قضاء. أما حقها ديانة is the 1/8 or the 1/4. طبعا now it's a joke. Why is it a joke? Anybody can tell me why this becomes a joke? Irony. لا. Actually you objected to what? The woman being less than, and you ended up doing what? Giving her more than the man. Correct or not? Huh? No, it's not about the man agreed. No. I'm not talking about that part now. I'm talking about how the ideas, of the non-Muslim came to the Muslims, adopted them. Now, what does that result in? That's another story. Men agreeing or not, it does not change the rule. If all the men of this world agreed on that, does that change the Sharia of Allah? No, there's no value. Okay, what if the men of Europe agreed? The men of the Middle East don't agree. The men in America don't agree. So what does that do to anything? If a man agrees on that, it does not change the rule. It doesn't. When a person dies, you don't have control. You do not control what happens after your death, before your death. That's the idea. I cannot say that I'm going to do this, divide it in a wrong way. I can divide it in the same way, but I cannot divide it in a wrong way because I'm still alive. And this is an issue that created lots of problems في المعاملات. Also, riba. People started naming it in different names. The interesting, and they're going around it, and you do this and I do this, and just to get around it. Why all of this? Because of the Western ideas as well. And the problem is, it is the West, they respect themselves. They are not forcing things on you. It is us. Like some Muslims are the ones who take it and bring it. They did not say, go ahead and adopt our system. They don't. Actually, I respect the West in a way I'm not going to talk about how bad or how good or who plans it. I'm talking in general now. In a way that you have an idea, prove it. Prove it, bring enough people, fight for your idea. Here you go, right? Yeah, I'm not saying it's not as easy as I'm saying, but there's that chance. There is that chance. Like if the Muslims come together and they want to create some, business transaction laws, they will do. This culture will allow that. The problem is we take the easy route. We just try to blend in and customize the Islam. Yani. Instead of accommodating our religion, making the culture accommodate our religion, which is possible. And they say, we will accommodate your religion. Just tell us what you want. We don't want to do that. Yet instead, we try to customize the religion to fit the common culture. And that becomes like we're shooting ourselves on the foot. That's the problem. That's what we do. Instead of starting like credit unions, and instead of starting like insurance system for our own, which happened in some Muslim countries. The takaful, insurance takaful, like you have 100 people, each one of them pay $1,000 a year, right? And within the 100 people, if anything happened to one of them, that is what they get. And they hire an insurance company to manage it. So the insurance company now is hired as a house of expertise, not they own the money. And that saved billions of dollars for the Muslim community, that it was taken, bleeding the Muslim ummah. So instead of doing that, instead of doing financing for our cars and our houses and all of that within the community, instead of doing some medical insurance for our community, we're just trying to blend in with the things and trying to find some sheikh telling us it's halal or haram. Right? So to make something halal to fit the common culture, instead of creating a halal model as an alternative to the common culture. You see the difference here? Can we do it? Yes. Do we have what it takes to do it? More. Are we willing to do it? No. Lazy. Okay? So we just want the easy route. I just want to work and make that. Where are the Muslim businesses to make all the people skills work with them? That's what the Jews did. And I commend them for that, actually. Don't misunderstand me. And I'm commending the act, right? Chinese, they get together and they do certain things. Yeah, the Ismaili community, all that, I commend them. I'm not saying I agree with them. I'm saying I commend them for that act. And I wish we do the same. And we have what it takes 100 times more, actually. 100 times more. And this masjid here is worth the whole community of one sect all over Texas. This masjid only. Okay? Have that. Have the same resources of this whole jama'ah in the whole Texas. This masjid, one masjid only. Right? But why they succeeded? And because they kind of brought all these millions as one pool. All right? And then they have a vision to how to distribute and how to do that. That's the idea. But we have a huge resource, but it's not in a pool. It's scattered. Okay? So if you gather, like this example to understand, this jama'ah here in the Eid day, you see how condensed is the space, right? But when they leave now, look at the emptiness of the masjid. That's exactly what it is. At the time of need, that's exactly who we are. Okay? But at the time of whatever, we can gather for Eid, for food, for whatever. But at the time of need, masjid is empty. So we have the resources, but they are not in the right place. Okay? We have the people, but they are not here. This place is to have these people, but they're not here. So we have what it takes to gather all these resources and spend them properly. When they say that the society spend $2 million in zakah, I ask, why not 20? Why not 20? Seriously, why not 20 million? Can we gather 20? Yes, you can. You can. Trust me, you can. If this one masjid here collects every year $500,000 or more, that means it can. Correct? It can. They're collecting donations. And that's the extra people give, extra stuff. If they give their zakah and all of that, that will be millions of dollars. Millions. And it's not a joke. But why it's not happening? We don't have that vision. we just take the ideas, ready-made idea. McDonald's, يعني. You know McDonald's? McDonald's, they say McDonaldization and Walmartization of things. These two aspects destroy the society. Okay? So McDonald's is like what? Care about what? Giving you a ready meal in the least of time. Compromising what? Quality. Okay? So what you care about? I want to eat fast. What did you compromise? Your health, your well-being, your mindset of cooking. People will not cook because they can get a meal in 30 seconds. Why do I cook and spend 2 hours? You get the idea? There is like some harm along the way. It's not like just to get McDonald's and you hurt yourself. No, you are hurting the society. The family structure in society, that kind of model destroys it. Because that kind of model will keep going. People even don't want to sit and dine. They don't want to sit on a table and dine together anymore. And when they sit and dine, كل واحد ماسك his sandwich and eating. What's the point of this? The point is, pass the salt, give me spoon. This is the whole idea of dining together, right? Looking at each other and talking, yani, not phone. And so it destroys other things, correct? Same thing of the idea of the Walmart. You learn to go one place, you find everything. That in itself is not a good concept, by the way. People think it's a good concept. It saves me lots of trips and all of that. But it teaches you laziness too. That's one. You compromise quality, that's two, because sometimes there is one item, it's better in the other store than this store, right? But you're not willing to go now. Why? Because it is here and it's cheaper. And why you should make 2 trips? Like people will say, okay, the squash is better here, but the potatoes is better here, and the meat is better here. They will go make 3 trips, but they will have a nicer meal, right? So why should I do that? I just go here and the meat is there also, or the meat, vegetable is there also, It teaches you to compromise all these responsibilities. And it comes to your family too. You want the shortest of ways with your kids. You want the shortest of ways of making your house. You don't want to change the sheet of the bed like every day. You don't want to do, it will go into your brain. Yani. It is not, there are researches, by the way, about these things. And I'm not speaking myself, here is not my idea, but I'm telling you, people make research about these two phenomena in the past 50 years, right? This Walmart phenomena and McDonald's phenomena. They actually was made not for whatever they are now. McDonald's, this is a guy who was working, and instead of people going out and wasting more than the time needed for lunch, he makes lunch for them at the place, right? So they can produce more. So the idea of McDonald's was what? To help people produce more with a quality meal in the short time. So he bring the fresh patties and the fresh things. So they put the sandwich and he give it to them and they eat it and they go back to work. So they got things done. They ate a good meal with vegetable and stuff like that, and they go. Now look at it. Is it what the guy envisioned? No. Sam Walton, the same guy, he wanted to help the poor people get the privilege of the rich people. You understand? So someone rich goes and buy like things. No, I'm going to give it to the poor people so they can enjoy what the rich person is doing. And he created Sam's because of that. Like you get the wholesale with the retail price, so nobody can monopolize you. But the Sam's now ending up monopolizing everybody. And Walmart now destroying all the small business on the side. So the vision of the person who starts it is not there. Why I drifted to all of this? I'm saying to you that the Muslims started being affected and amazed because of that. All right? Now the Amazon guy is the richest guy in the world. Why? Because he took Sam Walton, right? That's his mentor. He said, I never seen the guy, but I took his idea and put it online. All right? So now he does not have any, actually, like you have something, I have something, he just put us together and that's it. You ship it to him, and he's making money. It's just like that. They say third party all the time now when you order from Amazon, right? This item is only available from third party. Okay? What third party means? Means he doesn't do anything. You just order it. There is a guy who have that, and he connects this one with this one. His software connects this one, and they ship it to you, and he makes his cut, his money. So you get the idea, right? So the point now is making money. The point is not your comfort as the customer. And Muslims started taking these things, compromising the aqidah. So they want all of this for me to prove to you how an idea destroys the society when it was actually to benefit. But then we take that one, we don't take the concept. Because the concept for us as Muslims is there to benefit everybody. Like when you sell, you care about the customer. And when you buy, you care about the merchant. You want him to make profit. And I want you as a customer to benefit from that product. I don't want to cheat you, just take your money. Right? But the Muslims started taking into that. So they come and say, Sheikh, this is the system here. How can you make it halal? They are not saying that literally, but they're saying, is there a way around it? Okay? So that's the problem with the new Israelites. Some of it in ibadat. In ibadah, worship يعني. And they will come into these issues too. They will come to the issues with the Prophet ﷺ, with his wives. Why this and why that? And they will go start putting all these doubts in their marriages. You know, marriage, like they make the marriage contract. A man cannot marry or have, more than one wife and all of that. I'm talking about it as a rule in Islam. I'm not talking about the practice. Practice is another deal. Who does it, when does it, who qualifies. ماشي, we're talking about that. But I'm talking about the Sharia. Allah Azza wa Jal make this allowed in the Sharia, right? So some countries will say it's not allowed. Why? Because the West said it's not allowed. So they take it to the Muslim country and allowed. And there was a case which is used in the books. In Tunisia at one time, they make that prohibited. So a man married another woman, and they took him to court. His first wife took him to court. And the judge told him, why you married another one? Do you know that you're going to be in prison for like 5 to 10 years and you have to pay this much? He said, yeah, I know, but I never married. He told them, and who's that? He said, it's my girlfriend. I said, okay. Girlfriend is okay. Then it is kind of another route. This is another route. So the first wife have the option to opt out and divorce, or if she doesn't agree, or you can make some fine or something like that for committing adultery, right? But to marry, no, it's not right according to the law. And it became a joke, but a bitter joke, very bad taste, And this was truth, by the way. This was a real case. It was not like some made up case, and it was a real case in the books, written there. So that is what the author is saying, that it will come to you as a student of knowledge, so be careful. You find some people writing a book about Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. And say, oh, that's a wonderful, amazing book written by a non-Muslim, huh? But you do not see the poison in the honey. You don't. Because as I told you, the researcher wrote the book because he's admired with Prophet Muhammad as Muhammad, that amazing human being, amazing man who changed history. They are not talking from a sacred من ناحية قداسة فيها قداسة. They are not looking from a sacred perspective, from prophet, the divine. They are not seeing that part. What are they seeing? The change he made in the history. So when somebody talks like that, they don't have what you have in your heart. So some people, they are happy, oh, he's the number one in the 100, the book 100, 100, and we are happy with that and proud and go and share. But okay, go read it. Did you bother to read what they wrote? They did not address as a prophet or as a divine or as a miraculous person or as a person who was sent by Allah Azza wa Jal. No, he changed history, and that's it. He changed history. They agree or they don't agree with blood or no blood. That's another story, So you have to be very careful when you are approaching these things. 64. احذر الجدل البيزنطي. How they translated that one? Byzantine argument? Yeah, Byzantine debate. Yeah. Jadal al-Byzanti saying that the people Byzantine, they were like talking about the angels. What are the angels? While the enemy is attacking them. The enemy is in their like doors, yani, gonna attack them, and they are debating about the angels. Are they from light or they are what's creation? All of that. That's Jadal Byzanti. What does it mean? Means something which has no value, while there is something of value we are missing. You understand? So now we're talking about certain things in our masajid, but the main issue of discussion is not discussed. We are not discussing the huge danger that our youth going through. We are not discussing the problems between husbands and wives. We are not discussing that the marriage for the people, kids, boys and girls in the future. We are not discussing how the aqidah and the Islam is thinning, becoming thinner and thinner among. We're not discussing these issues. Instead, how to make activities this, activities that, this and that. This is what we bother about. While the big danger monster is getting bigger and bigger and bigger around. So he said, be careful with that as a student of knowledge. Don't be distracted, right? Focus on the main issues. And the guided predecessors used to avoid this argument without need. Right. So, but if we argue to reach, some good results to solve a problem, that's okay. And you're convincing someone, he needs convincing. Someone is arguing because they're looking for the truth. Yeah, you can spend the time with that person. We're not talking about that. We're talking about the argument in vain, without a purpose. Like chicken first or the egg, kind of. Sheikh ibn Uthaymeen mentions, is chicken first or the egg? It's a chicken for us, by the way, as Muslims. We know that. Because Allah said, وَمِن كُلِّ شَيْءٍ خَلَقْنَا زَوْجَيْنِ. And from everything we created the male and the female. So there has to be a chicken to lay the egg. بعد كده continues. The same thing, Allah created Hawa first, and she has the ovum, ovary, to bring the so the female has to be there first. Okay, so and then when they came down to earth, Allah created male, female from everything, like He created Adam and Hawa. So for us as Muslims, it's settled, but I'm talking about it as an argument. And you Google it, you'll find lots and lots of discussions, Man, this kind of argument has no value for us. Why? Why do I want to know actually? Would the egg came first or the chicken? Like what does it help me with at the end of the day? Okay, it is the egg. Or it is the chicken. So what? Really? So people became busy of trying to solve a puzzle, but they don't know what they're gonna do with the solution. Okay, there is a puzzle in front of you. It takes 3 hours to do. But we never asked ourselves, if you solve the puzzle, then what? ثم كان ماذا I know, good. If this is the goal for you to fix the puzzle, because it helps your brain trying to find the puzzle, that's okay, understood now. But that was not the issue with the chicken and the egg. The issue with the chicken or the egg, okay, to reach that, we have to argue for years and years. Then what? What did we achieve? Did it make our brain sharper? No. So what did we get after we know now? This is the chicken. طب الحمد لله خلاص طب it was the egg. ربنا خلق egg حطها على الأرض والegg hatched after that. So what في الآخر what? ثم كان ماذا? Nothing, right? So يترفع طالب العلم عن هذا الجدل This kind of argument is not for you as a student of knowledge. يسموه الجدال العقيم. عقيم barren. A person who does not have children is عقيم. فخلاص جدال عقيم, it's not going to bring any fruit so. And these kind of arguments causes grudge between people, causes hatred, causes envy, and it makes the heart also. The heart makes it hard. It's not soft. You know, like for example, when a person is soft-hearted, you find they get affected easier by things. But when a person is like discussing every single detail and every single thing, their heart becomes hard. Why? Because they analyze everything. They are not gonna cry when they see. They will say, "Oh, why is this? Why is that?" Like, you know, they're delaying the process. But if their heart is soft, they react fast. You know, when their heart is soft, they act fast. But when a person's heart is hard, they don't act fast. But why the heart became hard? Because it stayed away from the softeners of the heart. That's why we say dhikr of Allah, you do more salah, you give more charity, you fast. These things help you to become softer, become human. All right? But when a person becomes so material, they are less of a human. You know, I saw a video 2 days ago. It's amazing, actually. The social experiment that this man made is very, very nice. طبعا, don't get that as I endorse the example, okay? I'm just trying to say the moral of the story, okay? But I don't agree with, you know, like I'm just mentioning as it is. So this man is a millionaire, American millionaire in Los Angeles. And he got 2 tickets to the Grammys award dinner. You know, the Grammys, the people who get in Hollywood. The ticket is worth thousands of dollars. 1 ticket, huh? He has 2 tickets. And he wants to take someone with him. Anyone, random person. That's his idea, right? So he went in the day, you know, in the morning of the Grammys award function. And he posed as a homeless guy. So he rented the hotel room. He's a millionaire, like he has all these cars and, you know, the best clothing and all that. So he took that and he, in the hotel room, everything ready for that night, the best shape. And he took everything as a homeless and he sat in the street. And he put a sign, "I don't need any dollar sign. I just need somebody to talk to me." And he said, the first person who would agree to sit and talk to me and listen, I'm going to take them with me to the dinner tonight. So what was he asking? Some humanity. He's not asking for your money, right? He's not asking for anything. He's just asking for somebody to talk to and feel good with, and he will going to reward with that. And he has the tickets in his pocket. He sat like all day, from the morning, like 8 o'clock in the morning, until around 4 or 5. Nobody cared to talk to him. Nobody. People passed him by while he's sitting there on the side of the street. They look at the sign, move. Look at the sign, move. You see the idea? So he went to the thing and he said, "Wow, this happened. And I wanted to see that magic on the face of someone who deserves it, right? Just talking to someone can get you something good, but people don't see that, right? They see like, okay, if I talk to him, what do I get? Right? So he said, I was wrong. I thought that if I said I don't need money, people will do things, right? But because people are so busy with money, somebody who does not want money, they don't want to spend time with. You get the idea here, the irony? Like, we think that you don't want to give charity to the person is the problem. Now the problem is, like, somebody does not want charity, you don't want to spend time with them. You see, there's a bigger problem now in the society. You see the idea here? So if he's asking you for money, you can put a coin. And many people will do, by the way. Many people will put a coin. If he asking for food or whatever, people will put a coin. But he says that I'm not asking for money. Specifically, I'm not asking for money. I just need somebody to talk to. People think like, not worth it. You see the idea here I'm trying to hit at? The idea I'm trying to, the more material you become, the harder the heart becomes. Okay, so people are so busy with making money, they are willing to give a coin to feel good about themselves, right? Not to help the guy, to feel good about themselves. I'm giving the guy in the street coin. But if there is no money involved, they are not willing to spend some time, what's going on? You know, are you okay? You need help? It's just a question, you know? And that person would have been lucky going to one of the biggest things that only people certain people go too. Again, I'm not endorsing that, but I'm just saying the idea. Yani. Like imagine the idea that a Muslim millionaire, he says that, I will do that, and the person who will come, I'm going to pay for their house, or I'm going to buy them a car. But they don't know that. They don't know that. They just need to come and take me to the masjid or do that. How many people would be willing to do this and stop and ask? So we have to stay away from all these arguments that does not have any benefit. 65 is telling us not to have any of the sectarianism and be like, okay, our Islam is based on it. So if you are from the Ikhwan, means all the other Muslims, or you are from the Jama'ah Salafi, all the other Muslims are no good. Or they were from this, or you are IGH member, means you are good. If you are not, then طبعا هذا غلط. This is all organizational. It's good. All of them good. Alhamdulillah. They do their part in the deen. Fine. But you are not the deen. You are not the deen. You are Hanafi, Shafi'i, Maliki, Hanbali. Good. But you are not the deen. Yani. The other people in themselves, they are good too. They see themselves like you see yourself. So you are not better than them. They are not better than you. Instead, let's cooperate together. If Imam al-Shafi'i, one time, one of his students disagreed with him on something. Okay? They disagreed with him. So he left. He took his books and left the majlis of Imam al-Shafi'i. And he's a senior student. He's not like a small guy, yeah. Big. So after Imam al-Shafi'i finished, he went to his house, the house of his students at night. And he knocked on the door. And when he knocked on the door, the student said, who? He said, Muhammad ibn Idris. That is the name of Shafi'i. Yani. He said, I thought about every Muhammad ibn Idris in town except Shafi'i. Why? Yani? Then I opened and he found the Shafi'i in front of him. So he hugged him and they told him, yani, if one mas'ala, if we have like 1,000 mas'ala that we agree on, one mas'ala will make us separate, يعني إذا وسعنا كل هذا الدين يعني تفرقنا مسألة. يعني one mas'ala will divide us, and all of this deen did not يعني have shafa'a on you. يعني listen, and maybe the other person is right and you're wrong. Maybe you're wrong, you're right, and he's wrong, but he's right in many other things you agree with. You understand the idea? So don't feel that you are better in all aspects. La, the other one also sees himself better. So instead of each one seeing themselves better than the other and we fight, la, you say that he think about himself like I think about myself. So let's focus on what we agree on, which is way more than what we differ on. As madhab, if I am choosing the Hanafi madhab in salah, or Shafi'i madhab in salah, or Hanbali madhab in salah, or Maliki madhab in salah, or in muamalat, or in fiqh in general, يعني. There are many other things that we agree, and actually many other things in the salah we agree. Yani few things we disagree, but we agree on the rest. Right? So what is the problem? I don't see the problem here. Like why you want everybody to be a copy of you? Well, they will also want you to be a copy of them. So do we fight, or we just look at this as a different variety and we see the things that we agree on and move forward? We'll move forward. And I always give this to the people I train and mentor. I tell them, always vision it like we are moving in the same direction. Like people moving in the same direction, moving forward. But there are people on the right side, people on the left side, and people in the middle, like a line. Yani. You know, when you have like a hilal, like a crescent shape, and we are moving forward like this. Okay, so this is the jama'ah moving in the same direction. But not everybody has to be in the middle, not everybody has to be on the right, not everybody has to be on the left. You have actually to appreciate that. Because if everybody comes in the middle, we are not a crescent anymore. You see that sometimes the idea is like you have to have people on each side, and you have people in the middle. Because those on each side, they're actually making the middle the middle. You know what I mean? لا, صحيح. يعني how you going to be wasat if you don't have these extremes on the side? But this is a hikmah of Allah Azza wa Jalla. You are not wasat. If everybody in the middle, you become the enemy على طول. You are the bad. So all Muslims become terrorists. You understand? But there are people here and people here and people in the middle. So when people look, we balance things. And we can identify what is the problem, you know. And if you step one step away from that, it means this is extreme. Huh? You step one step away from that, you're extreme. So the closer you get that way is a danger. But it is there. Yani, you have to understand these things. So we do not make our deen based on sectarianism and nationalism and all of these things. This is not right. It's not right. So he said, be a student of knowledge, working with it, and inviting to it. So those three things, that you are sincere in the way you are seeking the knowledge, you are acting upon it, implementing it, and you are inviting people to it. So three stages and three things when you are as a student of knowledge. Not only learning, but you are practicing what you're learning and you are inviting people to it. And invite to Allah the way of the guided predecessors means with hikmah, with wisdom and good advice. And there is lots of things I advise you to read here about, you know, being a sect and calling yourself better than others and all of that. There is lots of talk about this, so I would advise you to read it. 66, he said the things that violate this hilya or this adornment, this book, this etiquettes, there are things that violate them. Ifsha'u sirr, exposing the secrets. Your teacher told you something or your classmate told you something, don't do that. Ifsha'u sirr. Because it is khiyana lil-amana yani. And I give you some secret of mine, and it's like I put something in your safe. You open the safe and you show it to everybody, then it is not good, right? Ifsha' sirr, this is not a student of knowledge. Especially if they tell you don't tell anybody. And now when they say don't tell anybody, it means it's like a green light, go tell everybody. والصلف واللسانة. الصلف واللسانة يعني التشدد, means being rough on people. This is called salaf. ورجل صالف يعني a person who is rigid. Rigid. واللسن, a person who is eloquent but using it to spread falsehood and hide the truth. قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أخوف ما أخاف على أمتي رجل عليم اللسان يجادل بالقرآن. And the person I am afraid of, منافق عليم اللسان, a hypocrite who is eloquent and he does argue with Quran. Also كثرة المزاح, joking a lot, is not a good description of the student of knowledge. It will destroy your integrity actually and your image. كثرة المزاح. مزاح في الكلام كالملح في الطعام، إذا زاد الملح باظ الطعام. يعني joking and his sense of humor for words, for talking, is like salt in the food. If it goes to a certain extent, حطيت one pinch extra باظت الطبخة. Right? You know, if you put like 1 teaspoon, you make them 1 teaspoon plus a grain, the taste will become salty. فيعني you have to have the measurement is when to stop. Some people they said ha 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 يعني all night long, and they feel like, oh man, I have headache from laughing. Why you have to laugh until you get headache يعني? You have to know where to stop. And you as a student of knowledge, if you sit with people, you have to have the hikmah to bring it down. Sometimes you bring it down. Like have always the talk, subhanallah, balanced. يعني فيها مزاح, فيها كلام في الخير. You know, it has some good about salah, it has something good about تربية الأولاد, some funny story. You know, like balance your conversations, even with your own family. Like ملح في الطعام. يعني don't make it the main concept is that احنا قاعدين قعدة ضحك ومزاح يعني. We are not going to sit a session of laughing and joking. That's not the habit of the Muslim يعني. Laughing and joking is part of it to make it like, sweet and nice, edible. But we have to have more than that. فقالوا كثرة المزاح تميت القلب، كثرة الضحك تميت القلب. يعني laughing a lot it kills the heart. 5. والدخول في حديث بين اثنين. Being nosy between two people. Like sometimes you find two people talking and a guy volunteers to give the idea. وانت مالك انت؟ Somebody asking you. عندنا في مصر دي مشهورة جدا. Very famous. يعني you find two people talking and the guy passing but did anybody ask you? I'm just telling you, don't care about your opinion, man. It is just like دخول في الحديث بين اثنين. فهذا أمر أيضا يعني he did not enter from the door. He's like somebody jumping over people, يعني people privacy. That's why في أدب صلاة الجمعة الشيخ ابن عثيمين يقول إن not to separate between two people. يعني two people sitting there not even talking. You do not cut between them. أدب في أدب يعني. والحقد here is like grudge يعني. الحقد is like grudge. نسأل الله العافية. كراهية والبغضاء يعني. When you see a person that Allah عز وجل not you يعني when that person حاقد he sees a person that Allah have نعمة on them they hate it. They don't want them to have it. They want them to get hurt. And the son of Adam we know he have حقد on his brother يعني. He killed him. So don't have that. And Rasul صلى الله عليه وسلم warned us. He said البغضاء والحسد entered to you like it destroyed the people before you and I'm afraid it will destroy you. حسد envy. حسد is تمني زوال نعمة الغير. الحقد comes first, right? حقد comes first. You hate this person having the نعمة, right? That's حقد. Still in the heart. Okay? Now الحسد is what? You look at it and wish that this نعمة comes to you. That's one level of حسد. I deserve it better. Or I want it to go away from him even if it doesn't come to me. That's worse. فهذا إيه من أنواع الحسد يعني. أما الغبطة يعني somebody has something good and you see how good they are, you want to be as good as them. That's no problem. Not in the dunya, in the affairs of the deen يعني. نعم. والرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم he says Sheikh ibn Uthaymeen mentioned, I'm going to mention them quick. He said والحسد مضاره كثيرة تصل إلى 13. He said there are up to 13 harmful effects of hasad. 13 of them. It is a major sin that the salah, siyam and the sadaqah will not erase it. You have to have a specific tawbah for it. 2 rak'ah, tawbah, all of that. So that's major sin. It has a great punishment. Rasul صلى الله عليه وسلم said, even the hadith is ضعيف يعني, that it eats hasanat like the fire eats wood. 3, it is from the characteristic of the nations before that Allah Azza wa Jal cursed and destroyed. 4, it is violating the brotherhood. أخوة. إنما المؤمنون إخوة. It violates that. Because if a person loves his brother, you love for your brother what you love for yourself. So it violates that. Number 5, no satisfaction, dissatisfaction with the qadr of Allah. Because you are accusing Allah. I should be the one, not him. 6, that person who envy, every time he sees a ni'mah from Allah, it increases his burning fire in the heart. And it will burn him eventually. 7, a person who is envious, he is following the footsteps of shaitan, because shaitan have hasad on Adam. 8, that it make enmity between people and it ends up harming each other. 9, 8 and 9 together. 10, he does not see his own ni'mah. He only sees the ni'mah with the people and forget about his own ni'mah, feeling it is little. Oh, look at them, they have more. I have less. 11, it decreases the iman, faith. And 12, that it hardens the heart and make it distracted from the dhikr of Allah, because you are busy with people all the time. 13, hiding the ni'mah of Allah Azza wa Jal, hiding the ni'mah of Allah and showing the defects. So sometimes you mention something, oh, he's good, but he's like this, but he's like that. That shows the hasad also. Now, so all of these things, they are effects of al-hasad. So avoid it, inshallah. May Allah save us from. Number 8, su'ul dhan. Violations of the hilya. Su'ul dhan means assuming bad, not giving benefit of doubt. When you are a good student of knowledge, you always give people benefit of doubt first. نحسن الظن أولا يعني. Benefit of doubt, نحسن الظن. But bad assumption, اجتنبوا كثيرا من الظن إن بعض الظن إثم. Leave that. And this is the hypocrite's main characteristic, They always assume bad about others. Once a person listens, oh, he's doing that because of such and such. Why you have to assume bad first? Why? Why when somebody does an act, you always interpret it in a wrong way? That's not the characteristic of the believers, let alone the student of knowledge. And student of knowledge should be actually higher level of believers. And should benefit of doubt even more. مجالسة المبتدعة, number 9, don't sit with the people of innovation. We talked about that a lot. Especially people who are people of innovation, they are known that they are very eloquent. They talk and make people cry and make people like that, and the people love that, because we are in a time that everybody's heart is hard, so they want somebody to soften, so they sit and talk and like that. So be careful, because they put the poison in the honey, as I said. ونقل الخطى إلى المحارم, يعني walking to the wrong places or doing the wrong things. That's number 10. That a person will go to muharramat. يعني stay away from the sessions or the gatherings of wrongdoing. Some people smoking or smoking hookah or going don't go to those places. Don't go to those places. Even a student of knowledge will not go to a restaurant that has something wrong in it. Even they are not going to participate in that wrong. So when you are a student of knowledge, as I said, you got to become more confined, right? There are many things that you're going to avoid, which is okay for others but not okay for you. You understand me? So that's why, because your personality is the combination of too many things. It's not one. I give you example before. It's not haram that I walk with casual shorts and nice shirts and all that, but I would not do it. I would not do it, even though it is covering the awra and better and accepted with many people. But people see me as a sheikh, as like a icon. Okay, so I would not violate that. It's like a kind of a trust. I'm not doing anything wrong, but it changes my image with people. It becomes, hard for them. Not everybody the same. Even here, when I come with a regular shirt and pants, people say, "Oh, Sheikh, first time I see you. What happened?" Like this. That shows you how people see you, which should be appreciated, by the way. I shouldn't be mad at it. Should be appreciated, actually, that people put you in higher place. Sometimes you take it negative. It has some negativity in it, that I am now not as free as I want to be. But from the other side, positive side, ihsan al-dhann, and I'm assuming good about people now, benefit of doubt, which we just mentioned, right? I'm not going to assume bad and say, why people treat me like this? I'm also a human being. I need to be like this. But look on the other side. They're putting you in a higher level. They revere you. They want to see you as a sheikh that they trust and they like. So I should be like that. So there are many things that it's okay for others to do, but not okay for you to do as a student of knowledge. Not to laugh a lot, not to gather a lot, not to waste time without a need. And I would not go and stand with the people outside the masjid without a need. If they want to ask me a question, they will ask. But otherwise, I will just go to my car and go home. Staying home with my family is much more valuable than wasting time with idle talk. But if they're going to ask me a question or a fatwa, or we're going to talk about life, and that benefit, I'll go. I'll do it. But if not, then I'll leave. Which is okay. Nothing wrong when people working hard and they see each other here and they talk for a few minutes and then they go home relaxed. There's nothing wrong with that. It's actually sometimes needed. But I'm telling you, as a student of knowledge or as an imam or as a da'i, your image will confine you from many things, which is okay for others. So now we're talking about going to the places of haram. And I'm telling you all these things because if we're doing that, of course we're going to be leaving the haram. Yeah. Okay, so so he says, be careful of all of this atham and the things like it, all these sins and things like it, and always stay in the good places. If you do, then you're good. If you don't, know that your deen is thin, and it needs to work on it. So you cannot be a student of knowledge if you become like that. Then at the end, the Sheikh said, "Saddad Allahu al-khuta." May Allah Azza wa Jal, give us the best of all those steps, make them strong, valid, strong, steadfast. ومنح الجميع التقوى, and may Allah give taqwa to everybody. وحسن العافية في الآخرة والأولى, and Allah save us in this life and in the hereafter. وصلى الله على نبينا محمد وعلى آله صحبه وسلم, and may salah and salam of Allah be on the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So this brings us to the end of this hilya. It was a wonderful journey. I'd advise everybody, and those also who are going to be listening to that on YouTube or social media, to listen to it over and over again. Try to put your own comments. Try to relate each and every point to your life. This hilya did not finish. This hilya started now. What it means you go point by point and try to relate to it. So it is a life effort. It's a lifetime of work. This hilya is a lifetime of work, my brothers and sisters. Look at each section and try to make a theme for yourself. Even every month you have one theme. So you take 7 months to apply it. Or more, it's up to you. Make a year plan. Like until next year, Dhul Qa'dah of next year, till the Hajj season of next year, I'm going to be practicing this hilya. So take one section, divide it, if it is a long section, and see if you, during that month, you're going to see something or remind you with whatever is said or not. Because the best way to remember something is to put it into practice. We can talk about salah, but unless you are praying like that, you're not going to understand what it is. Okay, we talk about wudu, we talk about zakah, we talk about hajj. Unless you do it, it will not make sense to you beyond the theoretical aspect. It's in the books. But when it is coming to the realm of action, it is solid now. So it is something that you did and tasted. So when you preach it, you know exactly what you're talking about. وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد. الحمد لله.